Welcome to the 22nd episode of Imperial Interlude. Long time no here. With me, as always, is Ralph. Hello, Ralph. How are
Hi,
you?
Tim. I'm okay, It's Christmas. Hey!
Yes, we're stuffed, filled to the brim with too much sugar and stuffing, and we're almost. I'm not going to say vomit.
Well, I was thinking more the fact is it's almost Book of Boba Fett time. That's the main thing, you see.
Yeah, I'm personally closing in on Jabba the Hutt levels of body feeling.
Does that mean we're gonna have to get you a thingy monkey lizard and call it Salacious B. Crumb?
No, I already have a daughter, thank you. So, before we start with the most obvious thing that is the upcoming show of the Book of Boba Fett, is there are two things that have been, well, weird around the Star Wars universe in 2021. One being the Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie being delayed for
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, to be honest, you've got the old adage of creative differences. Basically, that could mean anything.
Yeah.
It really can mean anything. They use that adage, creative differences, around replacing the director of the new Doctor Strange movie that comes out next year with Sam Raimi. So, it's like, what are this thing anyway? What is it? So it's like, really?
Creative differences is a very diplomatic way of saying nothing much, and
Exactly.
can range from they actually aren't sure about how they want to tackle this project up to he said I'm a big old fart, I fired him.
Yeah. I think that's the creative differences was the same argument they used around the Lord and Miller being pulled off Solo and Ron Howard being given it.
Yeah.
So, it can mean absolutely anything. To be honest, from what has been said is Patty Jenkins is tied up supposedly to do Wonder Woman 3, and that was on the slate first anyway, so she's going to have to concentrate on that and then coming back round to tackle properly the Rogue Squadron movie she wants to make, because she's probably going to plow all of our energy and time into getting that Wonder Woman 3 script sorted, because to be honest, Wonder Woman 2 was not overly great. It was fun, but it wasn't as good as the first one, if that makes sense. So, if she's going to tackle these big properties, a DC property and a Star Wars property, you need to channel all your creative influences into that to get it right. So if they're not, if she's going to be split between these two projects, it'd probably work better for her to concentrate on one and then go and concentrate on the other one. So, I'm not worried about it, not like the way the internet seems to worry about lots of things at the moment. It's just insane. It really is just insane, the amount of
and we mustn't
stuff.
forget there's still this teeny weeny thing of a pandemic going on, so that's probably not helping producing movies where a lot of people are being called to one place at one time.
Yeah, I mean, we do know that they're filming, or they have been filming, Mando season 3. That's currently filming. They're going to be starting Ahsoka soon, mid next year. So we're not starved for Star Wars content, especially next year. There's at least 4 projects that we know of coming.
Yeah, and
so we're not going to be starved of Star Wars stuff. It's just the shall we say the tribes are forming around what's going on, and it's like, oh, for the love.
And if we have learned anything in the past about any fandom, if you're oversaturating the market, you'll end up churning out crap stuff, shovelware, and people will hate you for it.
Yeah, DC. Sorry.
So I'm all for spreading the things a bit more, even though I could really go with a show that has been on the levels of The Mandalorian and watching it once a week for an entire year, not just a part of it, but
Yeah.
there needs to be some substance to it.
Yeah, I don't think you could pull something like that. You couldn't do a season for a full year, shall we say? You would probably, you could do it for the standard 20 episodes or whatever, I think. But even then, short form storytelling now seems to be the way to do it. Eight to 10 episode blocks.
Yeah, and so we're I think the rumors has it at the earliest end of 2023 would be a possibility for Rogue Squadron the movie, and let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
No, that's not the rumblings or the rumors are that there is something in place for 2023 that's going to take the Rogue Squadron slot, and a lot of the rumors running around, which take with a huge, great, big pinch of salt, and whether they're true or not another matter as well. Is
2023 was also the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
so
40
that
years old.
The mouse will have something.
Oh, the mouse will definitely have something.
They won't let that time pass without squeezing our wallets.
Well, the rumor is that we're getting a Knights of the Old Republic, but supposedly as well as there was a production, like a wrap gift on went out to a bunch of people from wrapping. It must have been one of the Star Wars projects, probably Boba, which is the only one I can think of. And on it they had the logo for Tales of the Jedi Knight, which is the old Dark Horse comics. The old the one set sort of around the time of before the Knights of the Old Republic, and it had that Tales of the Jedi logo on it. Now that could link into a story which there's three stories actually, because there's this one that we're just talking about, with the Rogue Squadron. Then there's the other one that we will sort of chat, and then there was a third one dropped which you missed, which is Dark Horse back doing comics.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah,
so Rogue Squadron, I think we'll see Rogue Squadron. I just don't think it'll be in 2023.
Yeah, they would be hard pressed to get that thing done on time.
Yeah.
The other more or less big drop that had been done a few weeks ago was there's a new Star Wars game upcoming, and all people were very happy. And then the trailer ended, and we were shown who's making that game, and it's like a million souls cried out in pain. So Star Wars Eclipse is the working title. It'll be made by Quantic Dream, a rather infamous company.
Well,
let's say, let me rephrase that. So, apart from everything else that's surrounding Quantic Dream, that's not directly game related. The last three releases were Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human, and they were all more or less choose your own adventure style click-through comic book games. Not really what I want from a Star Wars game.
Very story-driven, though. Very, very heavily story-driven. It was almost you were playing cutscenes. Now,
yeah, and also with a very heavy emphasis of being artsy and I don't know how to say that politely. But more being piece of art than actually a video game.
It was a digital story, pretty much.
Yeah.
The Detroit Being Humans, I played a demo of it, and I've looked at it. And that out of the three games, I played Heavy Rain on the PlayStation 3, or tried to, and found it very, very awkward to play the demo with, because it was only the demo. Didn't even touch Beyond Two Souls. Have had a look at Detroit, and Detroit out of all of the three are the one that seems to be more polished and the more that I quite like, because it's very much like a Blade Runner style.
Yeah, and it's
concept.
Also the one that had the most similarity to an actual game and not being a novel.
Yeah. Now, yes, it's Quantum Dream, and the elephant in the room is David Cage, but we'll throw David Cage under the bus if things. It's like, yes, he said some stuff on Twitter that am I going to be the vocal minority, so we're getting around to the vocal minority on the internet.
As is tradition.
As is tradition, it's happened with Cara Dune, it happened with Gina. It's the same sort of thing. The vocal minority gnashed their teeth, and it gained traction across, things about things that he's said on Twitter. Look, it's Twitter. He's an idiot. Let's move on. Let's not lambast a game that all we've seen is a video cutscene for. And
Not
from
even a cutscene. It's a cinematic trailer, so the game could be anything. It could be a text adventure.
Yeah. From what I've read through the gaming media, is the game is in trouble anyway because Quantic Dream have never produced a multiplayer, multi-story game. Their game engine can't handle it. So they're having issues around that. They're not being able to hire people supposedly because of things the David Cage has said. Fine, that's that. Yeah. The video trailer we've seen probably puts the game at least 4 years away. I would say, looking at it, we're getting into the realms of we're going to release this cinematic and then give it 4 years. So we're in the same sort of area as when Knights of the Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic, the Old Republic MMO came out. The original MMO Old Republic. Let's have a look. I'm just going to check this.
And I would even go a step further and say the release of a cinematic trailer is nothing but yes, we are working on something, but it has no value when it comes to release date.
No, it definitely doesn't. People are wanting, supposedly the big one that people are wanting, whether they do or not, is Jedi Fallen Order 2. It's like, well,
I would settle for 1330.
Yeah, I would settle for 1330 as well. Now that's it. So the original Old Republic trailer, which was Deceived, which is the one with Darth Malgus walking through the Jedi Temple, and you got to see, the Sith invade the Jedi temple and stuff in the original Old Republic cinematic.
The one where the shuttle crashes through the door.
Exactly, that was called Deceived. That came out in 2019. The game, and they'd been working on it before then, came out in 2011. So there was 2000, was it 2000? Yeah, 2009. So that's a 2-year gap. The game was in production.
You just said the trailer came out 2019.
Sorry, 2009. Dates wrong. So that Deceived trailer came out in 2009. That's when it first aired. The game came out in 2011. The game had been in production since about 2008, 2007. So the game was about a 4-year production cycle on, and then that's an MMO. Not the easiest of things to produce. Yes, they were using it wasn't their own gaming engine either, unlike a lot of other, unlike Blizzard and things like that, which created the Warcraft engine. That's their own game engine. They were actually using an MMO engine that was available to build the Old Republic with. So a 4-year still a 4-year turnaround on a video game for an MMO. So this Eclipse, whatever it is going to be, and we know it's set during the High Republic, is we're not going to see until it came out 2024, 2025.
I'm guessing they are aiming for 2025 or 24 rather, but I'm not holding my breath.
It'll turn up when it turns up. It's like all the other, it's like all of the Star Wars properties. It's like the internet gnashing its teeth over incidents of a CEO doesn't mean the CEO is actually the one that's involved with the actual game. It's the publishing company Quantic Dream, but it doesn't necessarily mean David Cage is actually going to be involved with the story. It might be a different producer within the company, things like that. I wish people would just take a time to breathe and do research or look up something, instead of jumping on the internet.
That would mean people would actually have to start to think for themselves and start reading up on things. And to be fair, I'm caught in these things more than once myself, but I try to restrain myself from answering any tweet that is infuriating me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't lead anywhere.
No, it does. It really doesn't. And I think you look at it and you go,
yeah,
please just.
And when push comes to shove, and you see there's a game made from a person you don't like or who has questionable morals, don't buy it. Simple as that. Don't buy it.
If you don't support, if you're not interested in supporting that person, then don't buy the game. If you're interested in the game, and you don't really give a crap about the person who's produced it, buy the game. I mean, it's simple as that. It's not rocket science, as we say, is it?
And
it's common sense.
It's not something like us talking from a high horse, because yes, I'm aware of certain things, and that's why I don't bother buy or look at certain games or companies anymore, because I can't be asked. But at the same time, I'm not going to stand on my box, shout at people who might want to do so.
Yeah.
I may talk to them and say, you do know that you're supporting persons with questionable morals, and may give some examples, but I'm surely not going to beat them over the head with it.
No, well, I mean, I'm still one of the 4 to 6 million people that play Warcraft, and we know over the past 6 to 8 months what a shit show Activision has been like in the news. So but there are still people,
But there's again the you start to where will you draw the line?
Yeah,
World of Warcraft was conceived with all its expansions in a time prior to all this terrible things happening. I'm just guessing or making it
2004.
And so if you have been playing since then,
yeah,
the reason to stop is, or your impact stopping playing isn't really going to affect anything.
It's not going to affect the bottom line of Blizzard Activision, and things like that. And
if all of a sudden every player would say, yeah, I have had enough, I'm stopping playing, and player count would drop by a significant margin, then things might change. But
But boycotts and things like that aren't going to change things,
unless they're really made by a large scale quantity of peoples. And I'm there's this vocal minority that, and even if many people say, yeah, your cause is right, I'm still going to play this game because I like the game and I like the people who created the game. Upper management can suck my dingus.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean
it's hard to if you are listening to a solo singer and he's suddenly behaving like the biggest turd in the galaxy, it's easy to say, I'm not going to listen to your music anymore. But if you have something that is a product of hundreds of people, where do you draw the line?
Well, that's it.
First and foremost, if a game stops selling, the first people that get punished are the ones that worked on the game, because they won't get hired anymore.
Yep, that's the one. I'm just reading here, which is interesting. We're talking about games and stuff. Is the Old Republic, the MMO, was reported a $200 million budget for development.
I'm guessing they haven't made that back.
Oh yes, they have. According to Electronic Arts, announced that Star Wars: The Old Republic was closing in on $1 billion in lifetime revenue, and that's in 2019.
That's an interesting figure.
I mean, it made probably more money when it went to a free-to-play model, because then you then had a lot of people joining free-to-play, and if they wanted some of the, say, more storage space or the additional races or things like that,
yeah. Also, if you eliminate the barrier of entry for an MMO, people will will tend to try it, and if they like it, they will stay.
Yeah.
If they have to shell out money just to try a game, but they potentially won't like, people usually don't pay anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, yes, I've subs to the Old Republic. I've got a lifetime subscription to to Star Trek, which I thought was an interesting way, is when that came out as an MMO, you paid, I think it was £150, and you don't have to pay a subscription fee ever again. It was a one-off lifetime subscription. So I can jump in and out of the Star Trek RPG or the MMO, and my ships and everything's there, same as a standard MMO. But I don't need to pay a monthly subscription for it.
Yeah.
And I've subbed and then unsubbed to the Old Republic. I've done that, and the only one that I keep sort of subscription to is WoW because of the way that model works. But it's interesting that the game cost them 200 back then. You think of AAA titles now, something like, say, an MMO like this would probably cost probably double, if not quadruple, the money that they spent back in 2009, 2008 on it.
I'm really. It would be interesting how much of those 200,000 was actually license fees.
Well, there's that, but also at the time, the Old Republic was the very first MMO to be fully voiced. So all of the quest giving and everything like that was all done with cutscenes and voice
remember
acting.
that.
What's interesting is, it'll be interesting now is, yes, we've got this one to see, you've got that, but we know that the Riot Studios, the people behind League of Legends, now they've just had that big success with that animated 9-part animated series on Netflix called Arcane, which is really good, really, really smart, very cool animation style. They're looking to move into the MMO space with League of Legends. Now, what's interesting, and I know this is aside from Star Wars, is the amount of money that Riot can bring to the table. That they're worth in the region of something like $4 to $5 billion. The game developer, and it's like, how much?
Yeah, we're getting off topic, but it's interesting on how much money people can actually make by supplying a service.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. They're not actually making game at that instance anymore. It's supplying servers and the universe, and here, have at it. Go and have fun.
Anyway, back round to the topic that we want, which is Star Wars, and the third one, of course, is the announcement that Dark Horse Comics are going back into producing Star Wars comics. And there's another side from that as well, which is Dark Horse Comics have now been purchased as well by the same company that now own Asmodee.
Where Asmodee hasn't been sold yet.
But the people behind THQ Nordic.
Yeah, they're in talks, and let's face it, the likelihood of the sale going through is very high.
Mm-hmm. But that company is now in talks as well to purchase the group that controls Dark Horse Comics.
Well,
so not only are Dark Horse getting the Star Wars back, so we may see Tales of the Jedi Knight returning. We might see a new version of Dark Empire.
They maybe a comic version of The Mandalorian and Book of Boba.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that Disney seem to be diversifying their comics in that way, because at the moment we've got, and I subscribe to this through Comixology, is I got the War the Bounty Hunter. I got the Bounty Hunter series, then I got War the Bounty Hunter series, which is supposedly a prequel to Book of Boba, or it's going to have links to Book of Boba. And then the third one in this arc is Red Dawn, and it's about basically Kira and the Crimson Dawn. But that's all done through Marvel, along with things like Dr. Aphra and stuff. So I don't know whether Disney are going to then say to like Marvel publishing, right, we're going to close off, no more Star Wars comics to use. The Dark Horse have got the license, they can do them, and you can concentrate on the Marvel properties.
Yeah, would be an interesting step that they could take. And while we're on the takeover from Asmodee, I'm cautiously optimistic on this.
Yeah.
Because it's not a revenue hunting
No.
group that is just in it for the money, and they also had brought back THQ from the dead.
Yes, they did.
So there's potential.
There's definitely potential. I mean, we all played THQ games, on different platforms. The ones I loved were Darksiders. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Yeah.
Which is for people who don't know, Darksiders is you are basically the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, set during basically the final war, the final battle.
That was one of the earliest free games on GOG that were shelled out. That's somewhere in my library. I never played it.
Yeah, well, I've got the 3 of them, and there is a 4th one as well, which wasn't the same as the other 3. It was more of a top-down isometric shooter for Strife, which is the 4th Horseman. But they are definitely, when THQ went under, they were the ones that picked up a lot of the THQ licenses under THQ Nordic, and then they've basically got a track record of doing stuff with their properties, not leaving them languish and not just be there for money. The interesting thing with which leads into gaming of sorts is when Darksiders 3 came out, they produced a Darksiders board game. And it was part of like the collector's edition of Darksiders 3. Yep. And it had some really nice, miniatures of the horsemen and stuff. Yeah, it was called Darksiders Forbidden Lands, and I think it came out with Genesis. Is this the right one? Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler, and it's the miniatures. If you go on like Board Game Geek and you can see the miniatures, they've got all the miniatures for war and all of the horsemen and stuff. Yeah, so you've got the 4 horsemen: Death, War, Strife. I can't remember what the Fury is the 4th one, the female character you play in the 3rd one, and it's almost like it says it's an isometric board game, but it looks really nice. The miniatures are quite nice. So if they've got that track record of doing some, or getting a company to produce something around their properties,
and they've got a really good history. THQ's games include such things as Darksiders, also Saints Row, which is a hilarious take on GTA.
Which is coming back as well.
Yeah. Also, there's the Space Marine game, which is getting a second part. Supreme Commander, also very cool action game. Homefront, I love that one.
I've got that on my Steam library, actually.
So there's a ton of games in multiple universes. They have a track record of treating other people's IP very, very good. They also, and I didn't know that before, let's scroll back to that list. Where was it? Star Wars Imperial Ace. Never heard of that.
The game, where we're talking about games in general, the one I would love to see them redo, and it's an old PlayStation 2 game, and it's Bounty Hunter. It's a PlayStation 2 game. It's the one where you play Jango Fett, and it's the story leading up to episode 2. So it's Jango, a story of Jango, the sort of a backstory to Jango leading up to Attack of the Clones. I would love for them to take that and redo it. I think that would be really good. That was done through LucasArts.
Yeah, so THQ did Star Wars Yoda Stories, Episode 1 Obi-Wan Adventures, Jedi Power Battles, Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, New Droid Army, Flight of the Falcon, Battle above Coruscant, Battle for the Republic, Grievous Getaway.
Yeah, so there's lots. You've got to remember, it's those were the THQ was like the publishing arm for LucasArts. It was like LucasArts was the publisher and developer. So
Episode 1 Racer, X-Wing Alliance, Force Commander, Battle for Naboo. It's a long list. So
there's a long list. So the company that now is looking to acquire Asmodee, which means they're going to be getting Atomic Mass. Are Atomic Mass still part of that group? Or are they now their own separate entity?
No, the thing is, there's the head company Asmodee.
Yeah.
Then there are the subsidiaries, FFG,
Yeah.
Atomic Mass Games, Asmodee Germany, Asmodee France, Asmodee Spain. Those are all under the umbrella of Asmodee, and they all get sold.
Yeah. Because there's not just Atomic Mass, isn't there? There's also the role-playing arm.
Yeah, they all every company that's residing under the umbrella that is called Asmodee is getting sold to. We haven't mentioned the name of the company. I think Amber. What was it called again? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. THQ Nordic.
Wasn't it Ember?
Something
like that.
Something like that. I think it is. Embracer Group.
Embracer, yes.
It's the Embracer Group, who are based in Sweden.
Yes, it's a European company. This is the biggest thing on this.
Because is Asmodee European as well? Is the group that owns Asmodee European?
The private equity firm was French, if I'm
right.
not misremembering.
What's interesting, actually, I'm looking here at the subsidiaries for this for the Embracer Group, and I know we're getting deep into the weeds here, but one of the other subsidiaries is Gearbox Software.
Anybody heard of that small company?
Yeah, that's that small company that runs Borderlands and Brothers in Arms, which was a.
And Borderlands just had made a very nice board game with miniatures.
Did it do a large shall we say a large Kickstarter on that?
I didn't dare to look at some point.
Yeah, it gets to the point where you look at Kickstarter board games and go,
When the percentage that's given on how much they have surpassed their goal is hitting 4 digits, I'm stop reading. I'm not going.
Let's have a look. Yeah, it's backed nearly $2 million. Is what it made off Kickstarter.
So if this article I just pulled up on a random news site is anything but correct, it's from the 16th of December. Sounds like the deal is already done.
Yeah.
And that Embracer is buying Asmodee for 2.75 billion euros. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and then there's the article about them looking to acquire Dark Horse as well. So, so that went out from Dark Horse Media sale to the Embracer Group pending. So the Embracer Group are looking to pick up Dark Horse Media, which includes Dark Horse Comics and Dark Horse Video. So things like the Hellboy movies that were produced. They were produced in conjunction with Dark Horse Media. So any TV series that's done through it using a Dark Horse property, or any film that was done through Dark Horse Media. So things like Sin City and all of that. So it looks like that the Embracer Group are not only just going to have, say, Atomic Mass Games, or have Atomic Mass Games under their umbrella, which means the Star Wars properties of Atomic Mass and I'm guessing any of the living card game, but there isn't a Star Wars living card game anymore, is there?
No, that's been put on hold by FFG.
Yeah,
I think 2 years ago.
And then of course the role playing stuff, which we knew was on hold while they sorted out their.
And Imperial Assault also officially being on hold.
Yeah, and the Outer Rim, of course, which I've got up on a shelf, which
that's basically a board game.
It's a very nice board game, actually.
Yeah, but it's a closed game in itself, so that we are not expecting ample amounts of expansions.
No. But then, of course, now they're going to have Dark Horse, which is moving back into producing Star Wars comics. So it looks like a lot of the Star Wars properties may be falling under that Embracer Group umbrella, which means it's very hopeful, I think, to be honest, because we know that next year we're getting a new faction. Is it a new faction? I'm going to say it's a new faction because you can play it as a faction, or you can play it as mercenaries
I'd
within.
agree on that, even though they can be used as mercenaries in
Yeah.
every existing faction, they are standalone by themselves. Though
Yeah.
I'm guessing in the beginning they will be very hard to be played against anybody else.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Atomic Mass Games would push out a box that contains everything that is needed to counter any unit that's out there.
Well, we know from the current meta, which I've been seeing a lot of YouTube talking about, is the current meta, especially for clones, is basically Wookiees. For the Republic forces, it's running basically the Wookiee, the new sets of Wookiee warriors, whether with shields or with the bowcaster set, you know, the melee or the other ones, and they're supposedly stomping through forces left, right, and center. And the other one I saw was CIS running 3 spider droids.
Yeah.
Because they're just insane as well. Supposedly the clone forces, or the Republic, has taken a massive hit with the last errata, which it did anyway. You know, the token generation.
Maybe 2022 will see a revised rule set.
I think we'll see a revision to the rules in 2022 to especially when Shadow Collective turn up.
Or at least in 2023 for the 40th anniversary, when Ewoks will finally get to the table.
Yeah, so we'll finally get Ewoks, and we'll probably be getting Boba and Mando and all of those as well within it, you know. And depending what they do, we may see a Bad Batch box set, you know.
Atomic Mass Games have been awfully quiet about new things coming out since the extravaganza. There is not really anything, not even rumors.
No, which is good, to be honest, if you think about it, because to be honest, what was spoiled, the whole Yoda Wookiee Kashyyyk thing was completely spoiled, wasn't it? With the leaks that dropped out and stuff. Did I see something? I did know what I saw this week on Facebook was someone had posted up the new like tournament pack, which is basically Domino Squadron on the cover. So it's it's you know, Fives, Echo, Heavy, and all of that stuff in their cadet uniforms that you see in that episode when they're cadets training. That's on the cover of the tournament packs that are being sent out with some, you know, with like the
Why are they sending out tournament packs? Nobody is allowed going out anywhere.
Well, true, very true. Well, it's something somebody posted up, as you know, from the pictures and stuff. So, you know, from the images. But, you know, I mean, I think, you know, I guess we'll see what happens in 2022.
Basically, we'll have to wait and see. The only thing we know that has been confirmed is the new faction for next year. Some kind of army box that has been disclosed in more detail, and then something for 2024 when 23 when the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi hits.
Yeah, which is the joy that is small furry monsters that eat stormtroopers.
And Ahsoka.
And Ahsoka, of course. Yes, actually, I think we will see Ahsoka in 23 because that's when the TV show is going to pop up.
I'm guessing we will see her maybe a bit earlier, potentially Christmas 2020, 22. Oh God!
Do you think we'll get 2 versions of Ahsoka?
Yes.
A small version and a grown-up version.
I'm guessing there will be one for the Galactic Republic, and there will be one for the later versions, same as we had with Anakin.
A bit like Yoda hasn't got, but no, Yoda gets an extra command card because he has a Chewbacca command card in his pack.
Yeah.
But you get 2 versions of Yoda that you can make, which is really cool. Out of the 3 versions of Yoda that you can build from the sprue box.
So with all that having been 2021 and what is to come, The next thing that we will hopefully see is the Book of Boba when it launches in 2 days.
Yes.
Prior to our show, I looked up the official Star Wars YouTube channel. Guess how many trailers they put out for Book of Boba?
7 or 8 at least.
Yeah, 8 trailers plus 2 or 3 specials, quote unquote, where they had either some behind the scenes stuff or interviews with the cast or anything. But trailers, as you usually understand trailers, there were 8, which is a lot.
It is, but if you look at them, a lot of them are very, very like 30 seconds a minute.
Yeah, and
not
most
full
imagery
trailers.
is reused. There isn't very much material more in it. They are just cut in different ways, and the audio is a bit different.
Yeah,
But the visual cues are very similar on all 8.
What's interesting from what has been said, and this is going across all of the YouTubers that are that talk about Star Wars and stuff, is that Robert Rodriguez has said is the footage that they're using is only from the first episode and probably from the first 15 minutes. It might be across a couple of the episodes, yeah, but it's only within the first 5 to 15 minutes of the episode, because anything after that is a spoiler. So all of the footage we have seen is just footage from the beginning of the episodes. We have seen nothing in deep. It's the same way that Marvel runs it on Disney Plus as well with all their shows. A lot of the footage that you see from their trailers is either from the first 3 to 4 episodes at the beginning, or like Hawkeye, there was a couple of scenes at the end from the very last episode but had no spoilers, so you couldn't really put it into context of where it's at, within the whole running of the show.
Yeah.
So the marketing department for Disney, it's because it'll be the same marketing people that do Star Wars, that do
they are sure to
stuff.
earn their cash.
They are. I think they've learned from a lot of mistakes that we've seen in trailers. The biggest one being, here's Batman versus Superman. You've got this big clash of them. Oh, we'll put the last trailer out and we'll show Wonder Woman and we'll show the big villain being their version of Doomsday. And it's like, really? So you want the big reveal to be on the big screen, but you're going to dump it in a trailer.
Yeah, it's companies.
Yes, companies, exactly. So it's just really interesting that that's what Robert Rodriguez has said, because there's been a load of interviews with Tamura Morrison, Name Wang, Ming Na Wen, and him as well, Robert Rodriguez. The other one that I've saw and it hasn't come around again is, this isn't just one and done series. Depending on how well it does, there is internal talk of it becoming, again, a season 2.
Yeah, but I'm guessing you could say that from almost any series that isn't made by someone where the creative person behind it says, yeah, we only can do one season because then the story ends and I don't want to go further. So.
True, but the thing is that we know coming next year we're getting Kenobi. We know Kenobi is a limited one and done series. There's no more
but I
Kenobi.
think that's more or less due to the character himself, because we know where and when he dies and where he lives, so there isn't much wiggle room to put in stories.
Well, the Andor season, or Andor that's coming, the Rogue One spin-off.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is it's going to be 12 episodes. So it's going to be the longest Star Wars, the longest running Star Wars one for a number of episodes, because the Mandalorian and everything's always between live action, because animation ran to 20 episodes, yeah. So Andor's going to be 12 episodes, and they've said as well that it's an hour episode and it's getting 3 seasons.
Yeah, but again, we know when he dies.
We know when he dies, yeah.
So
but what's interesting is they've already greenlit the 3 seasons.
Yeah, let's hope that the stories behind those are actually worth 3 seasons.
True, there is that. And then, of course, they've started production, or they're going to be starting production on The Acolyte. next year. But back to the Boba stuff was really...
And next year is also Mandalorian, isn't it?
Season 3 of Mandalorian, Andor, Kenobi, and Season 2 of The Bad Batch.
Yay!
So we're getting 4 Star Wars series next year, plus the beginning of the year, of course, is because Book of Boba is falling on the 29th. It's then, going to run into January. So the idea people are thinking is we're getting Book of Boba, and then after Book of Boba, we're going to jump straight into something else for Star Wars, and then straight into something else as well.
Yeah, let's hope it's spread over the year so we have something to watch all year long.
Well, I think it will be, because I think, like I said, Andor's going to be 12, Book of Boba's 7. I would say the Bad Batch could be the same number as the last one. So what was that, 16?
Something
and then
along those lines.
Mando will get 8. But I guess we'll see. And Kenobi, Kenobi will be 7, 8 possibly. But I guess we'll see. But getting back around to the Book of Boba, they showed off. I know in one of the trailers they showed off 2 new characters, which is the girl on the bike and a young guy on the bike as well, which are British actors. One of the interesting rumors I saw about that was that the girl on the bike is Mirta Give. I think it's pronounced Mirta Give, which is Boba's daughter from Legends. Which is interesting.
You think they would go that way? I don't think so.
I don't think they'll go that way either. I don't think it is Mirta.
They may have taken the name, but she won't be his daughter.
No, it won't be his daughter. But it would be interesting if they did bring Mirta into it and did keep him as his daughter, because we're still, we don't know really what Boba Fett did between Clone Wars, well, from end of Episode 3 right way through to Empire Strikes Back, do we? So that's where that Legends idea popped up.
I'm guessing the show will focus on from that moment where he got swallowed by the Sarlacc to when he got his armor back.
Well,
and then go on from there.
Well, I think what they're doing is they'll be, from what I've seen looking at it, and especially in that last trailer where he said, "I'm no longer a bounty hunter, I'm a crime lord." There's going to be a lot of, I think, flashback.
Yeah.
Because if you look in the trailer called Ready, you have the swoop bikes, which I don't know whether that's current or past, but you also have the scene of him in like a white what looks like a medical costume or whatever.
And also, I think there's one trailer where he's wearing almost the same outfit that he wore on The Mandalorian when he rescued what's her face?
Fennec.
Yeah.
So I think it's I really am looking forward to it. Actually, I think you look at it and you look, you've got Timur Morrison and Ming-Na Wen there, and and those characters, I think have, it's that mystique again. Because I watched did you watch Under the Helmet, the Disney Plus special about Boba?
Yeah.
Where you talk about it and he's got like 8 lines of dialogue in the entirety of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's crazy how people cling to a character that is barely seen.
Darth Maul is the same. Maul only had like 4 lines of dialogue, I think.
Yeah, but if you just think about Darth Maul, he's much more a screen-ready person. He's not one of many bounty hunters. He's the Sith apprentice. He's the incarnate evil.
Yeah, there's that. It's the look, I think, isn't it, of the thing? Because I think
also dual wielding lightsaber, that weird horny face with red war paint. That he was at the time the actual face of Phantom Menace.
Yeah, he was, because you had that scene in the trailer at the end, didn't you, Phantom Menace, where the doors open and it was him.
Yeah,
and then the twin lightsaber sort of popped up. Didn't it? It was that whole seeing that scene.
Until then, lightsabers had been single-bladed lightsabers. Full stop. And at that point, they opened up the possibility. Yeah, a lightsaber could be much more than just a beam of light going straight.
Yeah, very, very true. It was just the thing, but the art, we as Star Wars fans from the 80s and 70s, that when we latched on to saw Boba, we saw the bounty hunters, you saw Boba, you thought that was cool. That would have, I think, lost. We wouldn't have had that if they'd been able to do to Boba what they wanted to do, which was produce 100 of them and have 100 suits of armor because they were going to be super commandos. Was the idea?
But at that point they would have been in the role of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have been single characters.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't, it would have just been the armor more than anything, and I think the armor would have lost its.
Yeah, I think the
presence.
The paint job they did on the originally white armor is what makes it really pop from the crowd.
Yeah, it's let's make this character, stand out, because we can't. George can't have the 100 ones that he wants.
It's actually getting not a clone, not one of many. It's a character in itself.
I saw an interesting article from. I can't remember. I think it was the designer, the guy that created Boba. I'll come up with the concept of the armor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the worst thing they did was reveal his face. He wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting, because they tie Boba and they tie all the clones to Temuera Morrison, don't they? To the actor playing him. Because all your clones have to look the same because they are clones. It was just an interesting article. It's like, well, the way George wrote Attack of the Clones, I guess you had to show, pardon me, apologies, where Boba was coming. Where the clones came from.
I think it wouldn't be so bad if Jango Fett has been revealed if they had stayed with Boba Fett not being shown, because he isn't a clone. He hasn't been accelerated in growth, so he could look completely different than his father. Because of his life choices. He could be disfigured, he could grow a beard, he could lose an eye, or whatever.
Well, that was the interesting one, because the 1313 was going to be the Boba Fett game, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bounty hunter game.
Well, it was eventually, supposedly, the story was leading to the fact that the bounty hunter was going to be Fett. He's not named. It's a bit like the way they did it in Jedi Fallen Order sort of thing. We know Kyle Kestis is the name of the character, but it's not really said what he is until halfway through the game. That the first third of the game, he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
But the 1313 was going to be a young Boba with a mentor character. But I guess we'll never see the game, which is a shame. But
Do you have any favorites of the Book of Boba trailers?
I like the Throne one, which was the one that came out 3 days ago. I did enjoy the original 2 trailers that they did, especially the second trailer, because you got to see a Boma monk. And it was just so funny watching people, watching reactors as we do. You go on YouTube and there's people reacting to trailers, and it's like, what's that? And you see the Boma monk coming through, because how many people other than diehard Star Wars fans know what that is? The spider creature with the brain in its jaw, being the fact that the brain is actually the brain of the Boma monk, and that's how they elevate themselves to be close to the, their god or whatever it is, the things they worship.
I can't remember the title of the trailer, but the one I like most was where the Twilight from the mayor comes around going, "Oh, my mayor is making sure that you'll find everything." Have a very close eye on him.
I think that's
don't trust politicians.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's what's interesting as well is the female Twi'lek that you see.
The dancer.
The light skinned one, the one that looks like normal human flesh color.
Yeah.
That's Jennifer Beals from Flashdance.
Oh God. Now,
So
now,
she's
now I am
usually
having
cast as-
really weird thoughts in my head.
Yes, probably why I haven't really good thoughts. But that's Jennifer Beals. She did an interview and she said, they've had to sit on this secret until the trailer dropped for nearly a year of being in it. Not really telling anybody additionally, other than say family.
If she's having a dance scene in that episode, I'm
Well,
going to take that clip and then
uh-huh.
I'm going to grab the audio from the Peanuts with Flash Beagle.
Oh dear. Well, the other thing as well is supposedly the character may or may not be one of the crime bosses, yeah, or one of the, because supposedly there's a collection of in canon, there's some healing bats that are run by Twi'leks, and she might be the one that's in charge of the healing bats. That's supposed, and this leads into not so much canon, but Boba Fett, where he went healing after the Bacta.
I was a bit under the impression she could be a love interest.
Maybe as well, but
because she's everything else is more or less very rugged and a bit grim and very deserty like, and
it's Godfather.
her appearance struck me a bit like, yeah, it's a very calm and quiet and very feminine.
Well, it's Robert Rodriguez, so we don't know what he's got planned, but it's very much, I think, we can get the tonal from all of the trailers and what's been said in interviews and stuff. It is going to be very much the Godfather, that sort of ilk of Boba. But I'd see Boba butchering a bunch of those crime bosses around the table when they kick off.
And seeing that the pit under Jabba's throne is still active also very much delighted me.
That I think leads into the Bad Batch. I think that's Muchi.
Oh, that would be great.
I think we're getting there is a Rancor underneath the thing, and I think it's Muchi. Muchi's fully grown.
Well, wouldn't Muchi be the one that's being killed in Return of the Jedi?
No, the one killed in Return of the Jedi is a different named Rancor. It actually has a name.
Oh, I never knew it had a name.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was always the Rancor. But that could be interesting.
The Rancor is called...
If actually there would be this reference to the Bad Batch, what's stopping them from getting the Bad Batch into Book of Boba?
It's actually given a name, and I'm trying to find it.
I know that the caretaker had a name.
Yeah, the
Jabba's. Dude.
Yeah, it's Malik. Malakili. I think it is, however the hell you pronounce it. But the Rancor does have a name. I'm just trying to find it here because it has been mentioned, and I was watching some stuff on one of the YouTubers talk about it, and it is definitely given a name. Padisa. P-A-T-E-E-S-A. It's Huttese for friend, and that's the name of the Rancor. Pat Isa. So that's the Rancor that was killed. So what happened to Muchi?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Because someone was saying is if you watch the trailer, with the swoop bike flying through the town, and the town looks all destroyed. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of concept art and stuff of Boba riding the back of a Rancor.
Back of the Rancor? What?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I think that would be a little bit over the edge.
Well, images. Let's have a look. Yeah, from Star Wars Newsnet, there was a picture back in. I'm just gonna See when this was posted. Doesn't say. This was posted the 5th of October on Star Wars Newsnet, and there's some concept art of Boba on the back of a Rancor.
Well, let's face it, concept arts had been
very true.
Hit and miss.
Mm-hmm. But imagine if that's an actual scene in the Book of Boba of a Rancor basically tearing down the street in Tatooine.
That would need some rules changing for Star Wars Legion having a mount that is a Rancor.
It's not at Mos Espa, is it? What's the capital? It is Mos Eisley. No, Mos Eisley is not the capital of Tatooine. It's just a I think you want like an outpost. Like, well, not an outpost, but like a port. It's not the capital of Tatooine. Let's have a look. Just trying to find it here. Points of interest. No, not that. Not flora and fauna, native species, major cities. Mos Espa is the de facto capital. We think that's what the picture is that we're getting. You know, when you see the ship flying over the top of the town in the crater.
The giant transport.
Yeah, we think a lot of what people have said is that's Mos Espa. They're not going to go to Mos Eisley. They're probably linking around Mos Espa and stuff like that, where Jabba's, next to where Jabba's palace is.
I guess Jabba's palace is somewhere in the outskirts. That he wouldn't be in the center of anything.
No, it's the Dune Sea, isn't he? He's out sort of heading that way, isn't he? He's not within the thing. Well, we shouldn't really be calling it Jabba's palace anymore, should we?
Well, what annoyed me the most is when Boba refers to the throne as Jabba's throne, and obviously when he kills the Twi'lek that is sitting there, that's not Jabba's throne. Jabba is just lying there. Jabba never sat in anything.
I think it's more just a reference to the pedestal that it's on.
The moving part that hides the Rancor pit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's what's interesting though is, and I'm wondering if this is going to come into play. Jabba has a son.
I don't think so. For one simple reason, if he had a son, according to current law, to the mouse, he would have tried to get hold of whatever is left of Jabba's empire after Jabba has been killed.
Maybe, but no, Jabba does have a son. It's from the Clone Wars movie, and you've got to remember Disney count the Clone Wars as canon.
Yeah, I do remember, but maybe he'll play a side role as a somehow being shoved aside by the other crime lords because he's too young and
true.
Maybe not experienced enough.
Very true. So right. So shall we get to we know the show's coming. We have no idea what's going to be in the show.
Yeah.
So what do you expect we might get to see? I think we might get to see a Hutt. I think we might see
some Hutt. Given the fact that they have been showing multiple different alien races already in the few trailers they have dropped.
Yeah.
A Hutt is completely within the realm of reason. We may see some other races from other crime syndicates. Just putting the Prince Shizo out there again.
I got it. Well, one of the things I've heard, and I'm not too sure, is, do you think we'll get to see Kira? Do you think we'll get to see any members of the Crimson Dawn? We know Maul's gone, but the organization still exists.
Hard to tell.
Because that was one of the other rumors that was circling around at one point, that she was in talks to reprise her role as Kira.
I'm guessing there will be references to most things we have seen
Yeah.
in the later years, but I don't think actually people reoccurring.
No.
I think the everything that's surrounding the Solo movie is a bit burned.
Maybe. I mean, some of the stuff has been, sort of, because if you think of this way, Solo came out, and then after that we had season 7 of Clone Wars, which brought Maul, had Maul's crime syndicate, didn't it? And that was linking back from Solo, linking to that. So, we don't know.
Yeah, but
But
it had Maul, and Maul has
yeah,
been
true.
around for very much longer.
True, very true. I wonder if we'll get well, supposedly, and I think it's a given because we hear his voice. I think supposedly we'll get to see Din because he's in the very first trailer. On one of the trailers, you hear somebody in a helmeted voice, and it's definitely the Mandalorian.
I'm really wanting to see an IG unit.
Well, I think we'll get to see, or we'll find out what happened to Bosk, Dengar. I think we'll get to see those, or find out maybe about them. I think we might get to see Dengar. I think we might get to see IG-88.
Yeah, I want to
Zuckuss,
see
Forlom, Bosk.
an IG unit of sorts. I want to see Forlum, Zuckuss, maybe one or two Gonks.
Well, the other one that I think we might get to see, depending on it's the episode Dave Filoni's directing. We know what Dave's like for, bringing in his character as his creation.
Oh, you know who
Cad Bane
might see?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the little port where the female character was, where the Mandalorian landed and had his ship repaired?
You mean the water planet?
No, the oh god.
Oh, you mean Navarro?
Yeah, maybe she comes along with, and that Boba Fett is landing in her parking space again.
You mean the female comedian that plays the things? Maybe we might get to see it, but that was Mos Eisley, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's obviously flying around in Slave 1.
He's definitely, because Slave 1.
So why not make a quick stop for a snack and a loo break?
Snack and a loo break. I think we might get to see, because there is an animatic out there, and this was going to be part of season 6 of Clone Wars. Not the Netflix one, but when Dave had the idea to do season 6, yeah? And it's basically Boba dealing with Cad Bane. And there's a standoff between the two of them. There's the old gunfighter standoff, and that's how supposedly Boba got the dent in his helmet. He was shot by
Cad then again, wouldn't it?
Cad Bane, yeah. But remember, Cad Bane, we don't know if Cad Bane's dead or alive. So we might actually get to see a Duras, a live action version of Bane turn up in this.
I think it's safe to say, unless we know a character died,
yeah,
we might just say he's alive somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we know that.
Let's not forget, for the most part of the last 30 years, we believe Boba Fett to be dead.
Very true. Very, very true. Well, does that mean then we may get to see, because, like I said, Dave Filoni's directing an episode. Do you think we might get to see Omega?
No. Nope. That's
not yet.
No, that's too close. I think that character needs more development
time.
There may be references, but I don't think we will see a character like that. That would be too much.
I think we'll get to see not so much Omega, but we might get to see Rex and Cody, or definitely possibly Cody and Kenobi. But that's another thing. Supposedly, Tamura Morrison's been filming scenes as Cody for Kenobi.
That's highly likely, but I don't think that in the Boba Fett series actually there will be too many references to prior. I think this is actually a chance for Disney making new stories in past universes, and they will still fit within the lore and everything.
Well, we know that, we do know that we're getting, coming up from Fett, when the other shows drop, is we know that we are getting a live action Thrawn, which hopefully will be really good, because it is the same actor who voiced him is playing him, and that's Lars Mikkelsen, Mad Mikkelsen's brother. And he looks like him as well, which is really,
Helpful.
really helpful. Well, he's quite thin and stuff, and tall, and and stuff. So look, it does look like, if they depends how they do the blue skin on him and the black hair and the eyes and stuff, he probably
Well,
will look very,
we had Avatar, so no limits.
very true, very true. Where we had Gamora, didn't we? So, you know, in the Marvel thing. So, but I think, looking at it is. I know we're only getting one episode this week. It's not going to be like some of the other shows that Disney have dropped recently, where you got the first 2 episodes. I think we're only getting the first episode, which is fine.
But given the fact that Mandalorian had various lengths of episodes, I wouldn't
Yeah,
put it past them to make it an, let's say, 70-minute episode.
maybe. Yeah, it's the season finale for Hawkeye was an hour, which was quite interesting. It was the longest episode of that run, and all the rest were between 42 to 45. Sort of the standard run type of thing. So I guess we'll see what the run time's going to be, but I really am looking forward to it. I think you look at the armor as well in the trailers; it doesn't look as clean as it did in the last episode of The Mandalorian. That there's dents and stuff into the new paint job.
Yeah, but that's more or less depending on when in the series these shots were taken from. They could be from way back at the end.
Well, as they've said, these are all from the beginning episodes, so maybe not. But it must mean that the armor chips quite easily.
Or if they are flashbacks, they could be from before he lost his armor.
No, this is stuff when he's in like the throne room and stuff. If you look at the armor when he's sitting on the throne and stuff, and in some of the newer in the trailers and stuff, like when he's putting the helmet on and stuff, when he's being dressed by the droids, the armor, it's got that green, that quite bright green that he had when he repainted it, but you can see scuff marks and stuff in it.
And we mustn't forget that it's a desert planet.
Very true.
It's very hard to stay clean.
Yeah. But supposedly we are getting an appearance from Din, so I guess it's going to be leading into whatever's happening with season 3 as well, with the Mando. The other rumbling, or the other rumors, which were interesting rumors, and I don't know whether it's true or not, is we may get a lesser spotted Mace Windu appearance.
Could be.
People think he's alive. Well, some fans want him to be alive.
Well, I think if he's alive, it would be a similar fate that what's his face? The cut in half person.
Maul, yeah.
Yeah, Darth Maul has suffered, so that he's badly
missing
injured.
an arm.
Yeah, badly injured and just pulled back from public eye because he couldn't handle anything. Being a bit old man.
Yeah, being the old man and being, missing an arm or missing his hands, and then an arm, isn't it? I think it is. So it's,
or maybe even lost memory or something.
I guess we'll find out when it drops and we've watched all 7 episodes.
Potentially, yes. I'm a bit scared that I might hype myself up too much because, let's face it, The Mandalorian, especially in the first season, had made a very high expectations for everything that's coming after that.
True, but I think when we said this with a bunch of the other ones as well, didn't we? Really is the fact is you look at what they did with the Mandalorian, look at what they did with season 2 of the Mandalorian, especially as well is I think we all know that Star Wars on a TV front, Mandalorian, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, now this, are in really good hands.
At least creatively.
At least creatively, you've got Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni who are steering the ship, shall we say, for TV. We know that the movies are a little bit of a disarray at the moment, for whatever reason. The movies seem to be in a disarray, apart from, say, everybody's saying that the best Disney movie, or the best movie to come out of Disney's been Rogue One. Even that had its issues with creatively behind the scenes. So it's
it's I guess it comes with the material. If you try to work with stuff that has been written 40 years prior and maybe was intended to go a completely different route.
Yeah.
You actually need to bend some things to make them fit.
True.
I mean, what was the original working title for Star Wars? Something like Luke Starkiller and his adventures.
Yeah, The Adventures of Luke Starkiller.
Just let that sit in, and try
Yeah.
imagining being in the cinema watching The Adventures of Luke Starkiller and then seeing a weird version of Star Wars.
Well, the other one as well is because originally, and you probably know this, Return of the Jedi was going to be called Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And they produced a load of figures, the old 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures, on cards that say in red Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah, and
then
at some point, somebody said,
George.
yeah, Jedi don't actually think of revenge, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, so it was George that turned around and said, Jedi don't do revenge. So, it's like, right, we're going to have to, but there was a bunch of cards, a bunch of them released with Revenge of the Jedi on, so they're rare, bit like the shooting prototype Boba Fett that
Yeah, I
was
think there's
released.
also some crew stuff going around, so jackets and
Yeah.
caps that were handed out to crew saying revenge.
Well, there's a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of Blue Harvest ones as well, which is what it was
Oh yeah,
called.
the working title.
The working title. So it's going to be, I think, sort of cycling around to, because we've been whittering on here for nearly now 90 minutes. So, we want to let people go and finish off their turkey dinners, I guess. Leftover turkey is, it's going to be, I think, an interesting, this 2022 and I think 2023 are going to be the interesting times for Star Wars, whether it be TV, maybe films, comics, novels,
potential video games,
miniatures. I mean, there's some stuff coming for Legion. I'm quite looking forward to, not just the Shadow Collective stuff. So I think in whole, it's the next 2 years are going to be the interesting 2 years for Star Wars in relation to what they do with the IPs.
Yeah, it's for me personally, I think starting a new TV show with one of the most beloved characters for myself as well is a bit of a high note to end this year on.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I'm taking whatever I can get on positive vibes from this year, for what it's worth, and I'll be happily indulging myself in anything that's been throwing my way to distract myself from things that are out there.
Yes, from the world trying to eat.
People, especially.
Yes, people being people, especially on the internet.
Yeah, people being cunts. Let's be frank.
You keep that to a Tuesday. You keep that to a Tuesday.
Yeah, I think on that we shall end this episode so people can indulge in gluttony once more. Remember, kids, if the mayonnaise is starting to talk, don't eat it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Frankly, this is going to be a fun year, I guess. At least regarding Star Wars. So with that, I thank Ralph for being here. I thank everybody on the receiving end listening. And with that said, we'll be back next week. And we'll be talking about the first episode of the Book of Boba. See you then. Bye.